to the comment. Today we have Griff Green with us. Hello, Griff.
Hey.
Welcome to the comment. It's your first time on the show.
Yeah.
You're also our first interview, so let me know. You get to grade me at the end.
Nice. Wow, what an honor.
Failed. No, I'm just kidding. So Griff Green is the co-founder of Giveth and co-founder of White Hat Group. And I wanted to ask you, do your parents know what you do for a living?
You know, I'm still confused about what I do for a living, honestly.
Yeah. How do you explain it to them? Do they ever ask you? Because I know I try to explain to my parents what Ethereum is, what cryptocurrency is, and you know, they're a little older, like older 60s, early 70s, and so trying to introduce that world to them sometimes is a little tough. So I wonder like how that household conversation goes for you sometimes during the holidays.
Yeah, my family has figured out I was crazy a long time ago. So,
they just let it.
Yeah, you know, I try to explain it, and what I actually have done for the last long time, maybe 4 years now, I always give them crypto for Christmas and birthdays.
That's really cool.
And now it's because crypto's exploded so much. They're kind of into it. You know?
So
they don't know much about it, but you know, they hold different currencies, and so
that's really cool. So that's a way to get them interested and involved. And how did you get involved in cryptocurrency?
Well, I was always kind of skeptical of this whole banking system thing. You know, the Federal Reserve note system. It's kind of threw me for a loop. So I used to put all my money into physical gold bars and like not gold bars, gold coins and silver bars.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I actually retired way back in the day with $60,000, right? And just traveled the world.
That's cool.
My friend would sell off gold and silver and put a little bit of money in my bank account for me.
That's cool.
And then when I heard about Bitcoin, I tried to buy some. The first time I heard about it, I think Bitcoin was $5. And I saw this Trace Mayer video, and I was trying to figure out how I could get some or how it works, and could never figure it out. But then eventually somebody else, I heard one of my friends figure out how to get some Bitcoin, and so he set me up with a wallet, and then I didn't really know what it was until Bitcoin hit 1,000 in 2013.
Yeah.
And then I was obsessed. You know, I just started researching it and researching it. I ended up breaking up with my girlfriend and going to Ecuador.
Oh my God, you're so mean!
I know. Well, I didn't have time. I was a bad boyfriend. I was obsessed with crypto. You know, just the technology and the politics.
It seems like you're obsessed with traveling and being free, and crypto allows you to do that. And,
absolutely.
You know, so it's and it's also replaced gold for you, so you don't actually have to tangibly have something on you.
It's so much more convenient.
Because you don't, you don't risk it getting stolen. But speaking of stealing things, how about parody and your involvement with parody hacks for the parody wallet?
I did
it. No, I mean like that's really important.
No, we did. We did actually. We stole more than anybody else. So what happened with the parody multi-sig hack? Swarm City called me. I'm friends with the Swarm City crew, and they said, "Hey, we think our multi-sig was hacked." And so I happened to be with the whole Giveth team in Barcelona. And so Jordy and I and a few other guys all looked at what was going on. Jordy quickly figured out what the bug was, and we wrote some code to steal it from all the other parody multisigs. So they all shared the same bug. Wow. And so we ended up stealing like $210 million worth of tokens and Ether, and then within a week gave it all back to everybody.
Which is you're like Robin Hood, crypto Robin Hoods, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we used to be called the Robin Hood Group, actually.
That makes sense, because you went out with the intent to give back to everybody who was robbed. So that's really cool. What about the second parody hack? Obviously, nothing came of that, but were you involved with counseling them on the situation, or?
Well, the White Hat Group actually had like a community audit on the multi-sig after the parody hack, right? So we deployed a new multi-sig for everybody.
This is after the first one.
This is after the first one, and we had this like all of Ethereum looked at these multi-sigs and gave it a Harvard try to make sure they were safe, right? And then they decided to go back to their old system with this library structure, and somehow they didn't do an audit on after they had their first loss, and they didn't follow the stuff that we did, where you would have to deploy the same multisig every time.
It hurts me every time I hear that. I mean,
it's really sad, but I mean, there is merit in the library system, and they fixed the bug. But what happened was, in the same function for the before the bug was in the actual multisig contract, in the init wallet function, it wasn't protected from anyone calling it, right? And so they had the same problem, but this time, instead of it being in each wallet, that was all fine. It was in the library itself, because they failed to initialize the wallet. The modifier that they chose to use said only if initialized, if not initialized, basically. So then the library was never initialized, so some random guy decided to come by, and I would say I was actually on stage at a Bitcoin conference talking with some other, like Peter Todd and Trace Mayer, so the guy who introduced me to Bitcoin, and we talked about the negligence. Thank you, Trace. Thank you, Trace.
Right.
We talked about the negligence that was abound in this whole situation, where Parity didn't go through the due diligence to make a secure system, even though they had all the motivation in the world, since they just messed up. And then this guy was basically sending kill commands everywhere, which to me is like shooting a gun in the air, and just you don't know where it's going to fall.
Luckily, he doesn't get to keep any of that money.
No.
It's stuck, right? So he'll never get to see it. He's just a jerk that ruined everybody else's.
And of the $150 million, at least that's what it was at the time, that was locked in place, 90 million of it was Parity. So it wasn't Parity, it was Polkadot, which is Gavin Wood's other project, this Web3 foundation. So
it's kind of bit him in his own butt.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, that sucks. So we learned the hard way, but hopefully we all learn from this situation, and
audits.
Audit. Do you want to tell us about Giveth? I know that you're really into this kind of like helping the community and stuff like that, and Giveth is like your baby, right? So
yes.
Let's talk about that.
So Giveth's goal is to allow people to build altruistic communities on the blockchain. So the idea is, instead of having a charity, we're trying to decentralize charity.
Yeah. Decentralize everything. That's blockchain. Oh.
Yeah.
Nope. Get that centralization out of here, right? Yeah. Decentralize that.
And I believe that the charitable world is really ripe for technological improvements.
That's cool.
There's a huge opportunity here, because I feel like in general there's a lack of trust in where is the money going to go.
Which is a good point, because I have a friend who only works in natural disasters, like that's his thing. He went to SC, and his whole thing is like, oh, I go in and I consult people on the possible natural disasters that could happen, and then I help them, set up what their plan is. Yeah. And he's like, the one thing I've learned, I won't mention any names, but certain huge corporations, or not corporations, but these charities that you think are nonprofit organizations, actually keep a lot of that money. Or you donate blood, and you don't know that sometimes when like somebody needs the blood, they actually get charged for it, even though you donated it for free. Yeah. So people don't know that. So you're trying to help all charities actually be charities.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I feel like the charitable world today is using the corporate business model to make the world a better place, and it's kind of like using the wrong tool for the job. The corporate business model is incredible. Like, it really works like fabulously if you want to make profits, but if your profits are supposed to be derived from improving the situation for all of humanity,
is it really working then?
It's not the right model. And so we don't know what the right model is, honestly. Like, we're just building a platform that will allow for communities to create their own model, right? And so it really hits two things that I really care about, like making the world a better place with like every action. When you go into a room, you should leave it better than when you came in, right? Like, that's like a value.
The camp rule, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Always leave the campsite cleaner than how you found it.
Exactly, right? And then, but also, I'm really excited about decentralized governance and the opportunities that are in this space for that. And so the cool thing is, hey, here's an opportunity for a community to say, hey, we want to help dolphins, right? Or whatever they want to help. And then we're giving them all the tools for them to organize themselves in a decentralized way. So they can actually experiment with decentralized governance protocols. They can create liquid democracy, or they can have futurarchy, or any of these cool, crazy like experimentations that's going on in the crypto world, but in a very risk-adverse environment where there's no investors putting money in, there's donors that are hoping their money like gets put to good use.
You know what you're doing when you're donating. Yeah, exactly.
There's no expectation of the return. And then there's organizations that say, hey, give me some money so I can make the world a better place, right? And if all of a sudden, your beautiful smart contract that you've spent so long on, and really put all your heart and soul into gets hacked, well, okay, the world doesn't get better, but it doesn't get worse.
Right.
I mean, it's honestly...
Nobody loses their tuition or their child's tuition over it either, so that's...
It's just the money that you hoped was going to go
to
cool. Charity.
What inspired this? I know you've always been into charity and all that, but when did it click for you? When did, what I do now can impact the world in a grander way, and I can be more direct in how I help people, and like, when did that make sense for you? How did you come up with that?
Well, so I was community organizer for the DAO, and there was a big investor in the DAO who wanted to create charity DAO, and it always resonated with me that DAO structures, like what you're doing with the DAO is kind of like a co-op or even a government,
right?
And the fact that we were trying to make a profitable DAO kind of felt like it didn't feel authentic, or it just didn't really align, right? So I always felt that, like, even when I would describe how the DAO works, I always put it in a charity context, because that just felt right to me. And so when the DAO got hacked and obviously it died, Giveth kind of was born from the White Hat Group. The White Hat Group started Giveth, and we've been using it as a platform to create decentralized governance protocols and smart contracts that are now being used all over the space.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of Giveth is kind of the happy ending of the DAO.
Yeah.
A lot of cool people that I knew in the DAO space, I brought them into Giveth, and we started Giveth, and then and some people have left, and some people have gone. It's this is the cool thing with Giveth, is we're trying to be what we call a DAC, a decentralized altruistic community. So it's not a company, we're no legal entity, and people can kind of come and go and contribute where they can, and we have effectively a block reward, almost, like we give away about $1,000 every week to people who are contributing, and they just have to,
that's really
play with our system.
It's a slight incentive, but really everybody just wants to see the world be a better place at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I mean that $1,000 comes from donations, right? So like we're just giving donations to the contributors in a completely transparent way. It's like if you want to contribute to Giveth and you don't have the time, you can donate, and then that donation will go to somebody who is contributing to Giveth. And it's like a battle to get people to take money, honestly.
Oh, really? Because they're really trying to, they mean what they say. They're not hypocrites. They really don't want to take the money. One
of a huge contributor to Giveth, Quasia, he's like, what we do is every 2 weeks you have to make a video, so that we can know what you did, and then the core team votes. This is our old reward DAO system. Now we have a new system, which is complicated, but it still requires everyone to make a video, because we believe that that's going to be an important part of charity in the future, to prove that you did stuff, kind of like proof of work, right? We have, but
it's the future now. Really, it's like how you prove anything.
And so I'm like, Quasia, make this video, and he's like, but I don't feel like I need the money, and I'd rather have the money stay in Giveth. And I'm like, no, I don't care. Like, I want you to have the money, and you can donate it to Giveth if you want. You can do whatever you want, but like.
But the system has to keep going.
Yeah, we need I want these donations were put here to reward people like you. So like, take it.
Some people don't like being in front of the camera, or don't want to have attention drawn to them. Not me, obviously. So, what are you most excited about for 2018 as far as blockchain and cryptocurrency is concerned?
Yeah. There's so much going on in the crypto space. I mean, just in Ethereum alone, we're going to hopefully switch to proof of stake, and I'm excited to see how Plasma and sharding actually develop, like to see if you know, they're really experimental stuff. Yeah. And it definitely won't even come out in 2016, but a lot of the stuff is going to get solidified. And so the scaling stuff, like getting this network so that it can scale for the masses that are clearly just coming in like full force right now, and to see how that all works out. I mean, if CryptoKitties can just slam everything down.
They're taking up too much space.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm most excited about. Right. See some scaling solutions.
Thank you so much for coming by. We really, really appreciate having you here, and you make it really fun and enjoyable to interview you. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
If you guys want to leave a comment, let us know what you think. We'd love that and appreciate that. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Join me on the comments every weekday as I catch you up on the latest in Ethereum and blockchain. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get all the newest episodes of The Comment. If you missed our latest episodes, you can catch up all right here, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at NewthEasy. That's